You know, educational testing has absolutely transformed over the years. We're finally moving away from those stress-inducing, pencil-snapping exams to these really innovative, technology-driven approaches that are completely reshaping how we learn. So, welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to map out the entire evolution of higher education evaluation systems. Seriously, remember the pure dread of final exams? The massive, dead quiet exam hall, the ticking clock, the frantic scribbling? It begs a pretty massive question. In those high-pressure moments, are we actually testing the right things? Like, are we measuring true understanding or just your ability to memorize facts under pressure? Well, the education world is waking up to this exact question, and the answers are driving a massive evolution. So, here is our roadmap for the explainer. First, the anatomy of evaluation. Second, 5 types of assessment. Third, the CBCS revolution. Fourth, going digital with computer-based testing. And finally, innovations shaping the future. Section 1. The anatomy of evaluation. Okay, spoiler alert here, evaluation is not just a final letter grade at the end of a semester. It's actually a continuous, logical loop. It starts with clear objectives, basically defining what is actually being assessed. Then it moves to the tools, so these are your exams, projects, practicals. Next up is measurement, which combines hard quantitative scores with qualitative feedback. Interestingly, educators often admit that the next 2 steps, interpretation and feedback, are kind of the hardest parts to get right, but they're absolutely crucial. You analyze the results and then provide actual, actionable guidance for improvement. You assess, measure, interpret, guide, and then start the whole shebang all over again. Section 2. 5 types of assessment. There is a massive contrast between the 2 most common terms you'll hear in academic assessment. Formative evaluation happens continuously. Think of these as quick check-ins. It's kind of like a chef tasting the soup as they cook it. Summative evaluation, on the other hand, well, that's the big final exam. That's serving the soup to the food critic. One helps you grow and adjust while you're learning. The other just measures the final result when it's all over. But hey, sometimes testing has to happen before the learning even begins. Diagnostic evaluation is exactly what it sounds like. Just like a doctor diagnosing a symptom, it identifies where a learner might struggle on day 1, so nobody gets left behind by day 2. Now, when it comes to grading, there's a really vital distinction to make. Criterion-referenced evaluation measures your performance against a fixed benchmark. You know, did you hit the standard? Norm-referenced evaluation, however, compares you directly to your peers. It's basically the difference between trying to clear a defined hurdle versus just trying to run faster than the person next to you. Both definitely have their place, depending on the ultimate goal of the test. Section 3. The CBCS revolution. All right, now that we have the foundational theory locked in, let's look at a modern solution that's really shaking things up. CBCS stands for Choice-Based Credit System. It emphasizes flexibility and continuous assessment through both internal and external methods. Basically, it breaks entirely away from those rigid, one-size-fits-all academic structures. Under a system like CBCS, you aren't just sweating over a single final exam. You earn credits through assignments, presentations, long-term projects, the works. This creates a much-needed balance between those formative and summative evaluations we talked about. It encourages interdisciplinary learning and, crucially, gives students actual autonomy over their own educational path. It shifts the entire focus toward a highly customized, well-rounded learning experience. Section 4. Going digital. Computer-based testing. Alongside that CBCS revolution, we've obviously had a massive technological leap. I mean, computers have wiped out huge logistical nightmares. Think about the days of shipping thousands of physical test papers and manually grading endless Scantron bubbles with a number 2 pencil. Going digital brings automation, objectivity, and massive scalability to testing, all while vastly improving transparency across the board. And this digital shift brings some pretty distinct advantages. Online platforms offer instant scoring. You know exactly how you did right away. We also have adaptive testing, where the test actually changes difficulty based on your real-time answers. Combined with deep analytics, this instant feedback completely changes the speed at which a student can recognize a weakness, pivot, and improve. It's a real game changer. Section 5. Innovations shaping the future. But technology doesn't just stop at digitizing a multiple-choice test. The absolute cutting edge is moving as far beyond just memorizing facts. Open book exams force pure application and critical thinking. Project-based evaluation shifts the focus entirely to creativity and teamwork. We're also seeing e-portfolios that dynamically showcase a learner's progress over time and AI-driven analytics stepping in to provide highly personalized predictive tracking. We're finally assessing the whole student now, rather than just their short-term memory. So if we pull back and map this entire evolution out holistically, a clear timeline emerges. We started with a traditional model, highly standardized, sure, but heavily limited by its focus on rote memorization. Then CBCS introduced flexibility and continuous credits. After that, computer-based testing followed, bringing objectivity and scalability, though, yeah, it does carry the risk of a digital divide. And finally, today's innovations champion critical thinking, inclusivity, and real-world application. It's an incredible trajectory from the silent, stressful exam halls of the past to the interactive platforms of tomorrow. Ultimately, the source material really hits the nail on the head here. Evaluation systems are shifting from rigid examinations to dynamic, learner-centric models. They're becoming a true catalyst for holistic development. And this matters because testing isn't just about slapping a letter grade on a piece of paper anymore. It's about fostering lifelong learning and the actual personal growth of every single student. Because education doesn't just stop when you walk out of a classroom, right? Learning is a lifelong pursuit. With testing becoming increasingly adaptive, personalized, and focused on genuine critical thinking, how will these evaluation innovations reshape your own lifelong learning journey? It's a brand new educational landscape out there. Keep learning, and I'll see you in the next explainer.